Welcome back to the WSXM channel. You don't know, my name is Stefan. Thanks for returning. So, President Macron, he have this obsession with the Sahel nations since he was booted out of the countries, and he's been saying these disrespectful comments according to the Sahel nation. But he said it in a press briefing. So let's take a listen to it so you can hear for yourself his own words. Then we'll dissect it. Take a listen. Boom.
One part was our commitment to fighting terrorism since 2013. We were right. I think some have forgotten to say thank you, but that's okay. It'll come in time. I'm in a good position to know that ingratitude is a disease that cannot be transmitted to humans. But I say this for all the African governments who have not had the courage, in the eyes of their public opinion, to bear it. None of them would be in a sovereign country today if the French army had not been deployed in this region.
So there you have it. He's been repeating this over and over for the past couple of months in different interviews. And he's saying that if it wasn't for the French army, the Sahel nation, which includes the three AES alliance, Burkina Faso and Mali, and Niger. He's been saying that because of France, that's the only reason they become sovereign. And they should be grateful and should thank them, and they're not saying thanks. And he's been so disrespectful in this press briefing. He's been repeating this over and over. This is not the first time he has said this. But anyway, let's take a look at some of the misrepresenting of the facts that he's been reporting. Yes, the French went there and put an army base in these countries in 2013. But since 2013, attacks have risen. Death toll has risen. Every year it's risen more and more and more. So if your sole purpose there was to protect the citizens, why the death toll keep rising, and why do they keep losing parts of the country every year to insurgents? Why is that? Let me tell you why is that. Because they was not there to do no protection of the people, because there was no infrastructure work, so there was no nation building, there was no schools, no homes being built, nothing. It was more and more people running away from the country because of attacks. But one thing was secured for sure was the resources. The gold, uranium, which translates to billions of dollars annually going into the French economy from the Sahel nation. While these countries have been disregarded, no infrastructure being put in, no homes being built, no hospitals, no schools, no nothing. So now, after they was put out of the country in 2022, and the leaders take over, remember they was put out completely. So now the countries, everything rests on the presidents now, which is Burkina Faso, which is Ebi Amishori, Ajani, and I forget the next one name. Forgive me, I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, so look at what have been happening since the French have left the Sahel nations, since it was put out. And not only them, the Americans, because the Americans had $100 million drone base in Niger. That's a whole other story, and the countries. But how is it they can have the more sophisticated weapons and gadgets, and you're still having these guys who don't have nothing like what these two armies have, and they're still gaining ground on these people? How is that possible? Anyway, I said to say this. So now let's look at what happened since the French was put out of the Sahel nation. Since he claimed they should be grateful. Ebi Amishori retook 2 of the gold mines. And mind you, since January 1st to March 31st, in Burkina Faso, they mined 11 tons of gold. 11 tons of gold in 3 months. I can imagine how much gold was mined in these countries for the past 10 years and being shipped out. Anyway, Ebi Amishori rebought two of the gold mines. He built his own gold refinery. He built a waste management plant to refine the waste from the gold mine and other factories. He built a tomato factory. He built a flour mill, a rice mill, because they have they're growing their own flour with their own mill. He have made hundreds of kilometers of roads. He have bought a new plane and relaunched Burkina Faso airline. He have built one of the most sophisticated hospitals in West Africa. Then he have opened over 1,500 schools being reopened. He built homes for the fallen soldiers' family, wives and kids. Education is now free in Burkina Faso. Healthcare is semi-free in Burkina Faso. He bought agricultural machines, fertilizers and seeds for the farmers to expand the farm so they can be food self-reliant. They have built a cement factory. He have built a construction company that's building the homes and the roads. So how is it the country economy is now booming, infrastructure is on a fast pace, schools are opening, homes building. In 3 years, this has been accomplished. And not one loan or aid money was accepted from any nation. No loan from the IMF, no loan from the World Bank, no aid money accepted from no one. So how was this done in 3 years? And you have been there for 10 years. And there has been no development in these 3 countries. But yet now, you know why? Because at the time, there was mining uranium from Niger. And they was paying, listen to this, France was paying 80 cents per kilo for over 10 years for the uranium to the Nigerian government at the time. And yet the uranium value was 200 euro per kilo. So while they're making billions, the local government is getting maybe like 2, maybe 5, 10 million at most. And this is what they've been doing. And the gold, imagine the amount of gold was taken from those mines. Not only gold, the aluminum, the iron ores, all the resources leaving the country, but yet the country have not benefited, not even once. So how is it now you're going to say they must be thankful to France? And it is quite the opposite. They should be thankful for the African countries, because if it wasn't for them and the resources, the French economy would have crashed a long time ago. Look at what they did to Libya when they took over Gaddafi. Where did that gold went that he had in reserve? Where was that gold? And I'm sure he's currently he's storing his own gold, and he's gonna make his own. He's gonna build, and they're gonna have their own currency, so they're gonna use the gold to back their new currencies. So he's stockpiling his gold now in his vault with 3 nations, because that's why they're mining so much gold currently. That's one of the reasons why they're mining the gold. And other than that, during the World War II, there was, from these 14 colonies, they take soldiers from there, and they bring them to war, and they mistreat them, give them bad food, give them bad equipment. Let me read what one of the ministers said about in response to what President Macron had said. I'll put it on the screen. Senegal responded to Macron saying, "This is finally the place to remind President Macron that if African soldiers sometimes forcibly mobilized, mistreated, and ultimately betrayed, had not deployed during the Second World War to defend France, it would have perhaps still be Germany today." So imagine that. And during this time, there was mistreating our soldiers, giving them faulty weapons, old clothes, old shoes, and giving them spoiled food. This was documented because the soldiers reported this, and then they have a monument in Senegal for those fallen soldiers, and what they went through and all of that. So this idea that we must be thankful to the West, and it's quite opposite. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. I've just showed you. What do you think of President Macron? Keep on repeating this lie that we should be thankful for him and grateful and say thanks. And he's what are your thoughts on this? Because just thinking about it, I'm getting upset. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Boom.